In the world of women's sports, 2025 has become a turning point that nobody expected to unfold with such intensity, and the shockwaves started rolling the moment the updated earnings list for the year dropped, revealing a financial landscape that completely rewired the conversation around who actually drives attention, commands influence, and shapes the marketplace. What people had spent months arguing about online, what fans insisted was opinion-based, what rival players tried to challenge through narratives and interviews, suddenly became irrelevant the moment real financial data hit the public, because numbers, especially numbers tied to global endorsements and corporate investment, don't argue, don't negotiate, and don't bend to personal emotions. They simply tell the truth. And the truth is this: Caitlin Clark has officially become the highest-paid WNBA athlete of the year, and not just by a slim margin or a respectable lead, but by a massive gulf so enormous that it forces the entire sports world, especially the women's basketball community, to confront reality in a way that can no longer be avoided. When the financial publication Sportico released its highly anticipated 2025 rankings of the highest-paid female athletes across the globe, fans expected tennis stars to dominate, golfers to show up strong, and maybe a few team sport athletes to slip into the lower positions. What they did not expect, however, was that only a single WNBA player would make the top 15 worldwide, and that player, unsurprisingly yet still shockingly to many critics, was Caitlin Clark. She wasn't 14th, she wasn't 12th, she wasn't barely scraping her way into the list. She landed at number 6 overall, standing shoulder to shoulder with internationally recognized tennis icons like Coco Gauff, Naomi Osaka, Iga Swiatek, and Serena Williams, who have historically carried women's sports on their backs when it comes to sponsorship value. Her total earnings for the year reached a staggering $16 million, placing her far beyond any of her WNBA peers, and even above some of the most decorated and globally recognizable athletes in other sports. This revelation alone was enough to send social media into meltdown mode, as debates about who deserves what suddenly had to contend with undeniable proof of how the marketplace actually sees value. For months, certain corners of the basketball world pushed the idea that Caitlin's popularity was exaggerated by biased media coverage, or that other players were equally responsible for boosting league interest. But none of those talking points survived the release of Sportico's data. Corporations, particularly billion-dollar companies that make decisions based on analytics and projected revenue, not fan emotions, made their stance extremely clear with the checks they wrote. Caitlin Clark is the most marketable team sport female athlete on the planet right now. And if that wasn't enough to silence critics, the details inside the financial breakdown were even more shocking, because out of Caitlin Clark's $16 million total earnings, only $119,000 came from her WNBA salary. That means more than $15.8 million came from endorsements alone, making her one of the highest-earning endorsement figures in all of women's sports. Let that sink in. She is making more money off the court through partnerships, branding, sponsorships, and corporate campaigns than nearly every other female athlete is making in total for the entire year. Her brand value is so strong that even without touching a basketball, she would still land in the global top 10 highest-earning female athletes, which is something no other WNBA player can say. Not Sabrina Ionescu, not Aya Wilson, not Angel Reese, not anyone else in the league. And while fans of other players might be frustrated by these outcomes, companies spending real marketing dollars are clearly not focused on debates, feelings, or social media narratives. They're focused on measurable return on investment, and Caitlin Clark is delivering numbers that no one else in the WNBA, past or present, has ever generated. Her endorsement portfolio reads like a list of the most powerful brands in sports and consumer markets today, including Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, Wilson, Panini America, and numerous additional partners that see her as a once-in-a-generation marketing force. Nike's decision to give Caitlin a signature shoe, set to release in 2026, puts her in an incredibly exclusive group of active WNBA players who have earned that right. Before her, only Aya Wilson and Sabrina Ionescu had signature deals, and those were established after years of career accomplishments, titles, and MVP performances. Caitlin secured hers almost immediately, a testament to the magnitude of the attention she brings and the excitement she generates every time she steps on the court or appears in a commercial. The Wilson basketballs featuring her name have sold out repeatedly, often within hours of being restocked. Gatorade has plastered her across major branding campaigns. State Farm commercials featuring her run on national television during primetime events, and trading cards with her image have become hot commodities among collectors. She isn't just participating in the endorsement economy, she's reshaping it. Meanwhile, her so-called rivals, the players the media insists are on her level in terms of cultural impact, aren't even coming close to competing in endorsement revenue. Angel Reese, for example, who was repeatedly pushed as Caitlyn's equal in popularity, didn't crack the top 50 globally. She's earning less than $10 million total, which means the gap between her and Caitlyn is more than $6 million this year alone, and likely growing. Sabrina Ionescu, the second highest paid WNBA player, sits below the $10 million mark as well. And while their earnings are still impressive for WNBA standards, they aren't remotely touching Caitlyn's financial territory. What's even more fascinating is the broader sports context surrounding this list, because while tennis players have historically dominated the top spots for female athletes, which makes sense given their individual earnings model and global endorsements, it's incredibly rare for any team sport athlete to break through. Yet Caitlyn Clark did it, and she did it early in her career, beating out stars from global soccer, Olympic gymnastics, volleyball, hockey, golf, and numerous other sports that have much larger international followings. That means that not a single player from the U.S. women's national soccer team, despite their fame and World Cup success, made the top 15. Not Alex Morgan, not Sophia Smith, not Megan Rapinoe. Even Simone Biles, one of the most recognizable and decorated athletic figures of the century, earned less endorsement money than Caitlyn Clark this year, landing at $11 million. That comparison alone highlights the magnitude of Caitlyn's rapid rise. We are witnessing something historic, something that shifts conversations around women's sports economics, something that forces businesses, leagues, and critics to rethink what drives market value, and it is happening in real time. The most telling part is that the WNBA is barely paying her anything relative to her actual worth, which proves how dramatically undervalued players can be within the league's salary structure. The WNBA is benefiting enormously from Caitlyn's presence, media attention, increased ticket sales, record-breaking viewership numbers, and sold-out arenas, yet her salary remains at just over $100,000. Companies outside the league are the ones recognizing her true economic value, which is why they keep increasing their investment year after year. Last year, she earned around $11 million. This year, $16 million. That's a jump of $5 million in a single year, despite already being the league's most advertised and most visible athlete. And if that trajectory continues, and there is no reason to believe it won't, she could easily be making $30 million annually within the next 5 years, pushing her into the realm of all-time highest earners in women's sports history. Critics who spent the year insisting that other players deserved equal spotlight now face the reality that equal spotlight does not necessarily translate to equal market value. You can argue endlessly about who plays better defense, who has better footwork, who rebounds more aggressively, or who deserves recognition based on personal standards, but companies don't endorse based on those criteria. They endorse based on who draws attention, sells merchandise, moves audiences, and inspires consumer behavior. And by every measurable metric, Caitlyn Clark is the most influential figure in women's basketball right now. That's not narrative, that's not bias, that's not favoritism, that's economics. Her story is still unfolding, and if her current trajectory is any indication of where she's headed, she might become one of the most important figures in the history of women's sports. She has already redefined what a WNBA rookie can achieve. She has expanded the league's audience in ways data analysts previously believed would take a decade to accomplish, and she continues to dominate endorsement markets that most players never even reach. With each passing season, her value grows, her brand expands, and her impact deepens. The numbers don't lie, the marketplace doesn't lie, and the 2025 Sportico list confirmed what many already suspected. Caitlin Clark is in a league of her own, financially, culturally, and commercially. No matter how loudly critics complain, no matter how passionately fans argue, and no matter how many narratives are pushed online, nothing changes the fact that Caitlin's $16 million earnings cement her as the highest-paid WNBA Player of the Year and the only team sport athlete among the global top 15. The debate is over. The market has spoken, and it has spoken loudly.